Good afternoon, everyone. This is Discovering Yourself, and I'm your host, Jacob Smith. Today we have a special story that comes from two rural towns in Iowa. I'm going to introduce today's characters. This is Nathan and Abby. They both come from two small towns in Iowa, but Abby is from Jessup, a small town with a population of 2,000, according to the Census Bureau. It only has a few mentionable landmarks like the Water Tower and the Jessup Motel. Nathan is from Lamont, and they only have a population of 430. The only business in the town was an ice cream shop. These two happened to meet at a Pizza Hut in a neighboring town, and they decided to create me. If you didn't catch it already, Nathan and Abby are my parents, and the person we're discovering today is me. I'm Jacob. I'm a 20-year-old student at the University of Iowa, and I'm pursuing a Bachelor of Arts degree in biochemistry and molecular biology. Both sets of my grandparents lived and raised their children in small towns in Iowa. The grandparents on my dad's side drive an RV around and park it at various campgrounds near smaller towns. The grandparents on my mom's side still live in the town they raised my mom in, Jessup, Iowa. Today, I want to discover why my grandparents decided to move to Jessup and also why they decided to stay there. So to do that, I plan on interviewing my grandparents. So we're going to go take a trip. One thing I recognized while driving to my grandparents' house in Jessup was just how different the landscape is to Iowa City, where I'm from. It's a perfectly Midwestern scene. You can see the cornfields and the farm, the barely any trees. It's just a long road all the way there to Jessup. So how long have you guys both lived in Jessup?
In town all my life, which is 43 years.
I've been Jessup resident my whole life, 60-some years. 20 of it was growing up in the country, but then moved to town.
Well, we were in town. Then Dad started farming outside of town, so we moved outside of town, and then moved back in when I in 74.
So our whole life.
So yeah, but Jessup District.
Okay. So why have you guys stayed here as long as you have?
Small town life.
Family.
Family.
Didn't want to move from family. We thought about if we were going to do it, we better do it now if we were kids, but then we couldn't leave our families. My dad had bad health, and my mom was too. And I said, I'm not going anywhere because I'm not going to be away if something happens.
Would you recommend other couples raising their families in communities like this?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Why is that?
You get more help. The whole town helps people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like the big cities where you're just basically a number. You're not connected to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We even told dear folks, you know, if your schools seem to not be helpful or not kind enough or whatever, come let us have them, you guys here, and we'll take care of you here. Go home on your weekends.
A senior class here is 100 kids. You know,
At the most.
A senior class, 100 kids. It's just unreal.
If anybody has any difficulties or bullies or whatever over here, that would get nipped right now, and there wouldn't be any. And we know almost everybody, so we know it's like, nah, you don't want to be hanging out with that one. We just kind of know because you know everybody. So yeah, we'd love
small town life. When I had my accident, I was laid up for like 6-7 months, and the whole town helped us out. I mean, the whole town. She would go down to the grocery store and get movies or food or whatever where she worked.
They would just donate it to us. One girl worked for me for a week and gave me her paycheck. So it was just, you wouldn't get that anywhere else.
After interviewing my grandparents, it seems that they've had thoughts of moving out before, but ultimately they decided to stay in Jessup because of their family and neighborly community. Their answers are perfectly Midwestern, and they're exactly what I expected them to be. But I was still curious to see how they personally see each other as members of a small town community such as Jessup. So I interviewed them each again, and here's the clip rolling. In your opinion, what do people outside of the Midwest think of small town communities like Jessup?
I think that Jessup in Iowa, we're Hicks. We only know farming, potatoes and corn, and we all ride horses and buggies.
Mm-hmm. Are they right or are they wrong?
They're totally wrong.
Okay.
Amish do that. We don't. We have a very nice car. We live in a nice house. We're fine. But there's not as many people in our town as bigger cities. That's about it.
In a sentence or two, could you like try to describe your Midwestern experience as an Iowan?
We're close. We're happy. People are more kind and thoughtful.
If you were to like compare yourself to someone else maybe who lives in a different part of the Midwest, why is your like experience different? What's specific and personal about how you've grown up here?
We say hi and we mean it. We're generally kind, courteous, thoughtful, and really are concerned about the next person.
What's something that people from bigger cities outside of the Midwest seem to not understand about communities like Jessup?
They don't understand how we can be so close. They don't get that people help people.
What is a common trait amongst people from small town communities like this?
I think the work ethic in the Midwest is better. You know, when you hear stories of people when they leave from the Midwest and go to the West Coast, they go to the East Coast, whatever. People want to hire the Midwestern people because their work ethic is just so much better.
Okay, and again, it seems like, just to reiterate, that family and a neighborly community are the main reasons why people stay in small town communities like this. So I understand why my grandparents decided to live there and why they decided to raise my parents there as well. My parents, on the other hand, did decide to move out, but that was just to better themselves. My dad ended up going to the university to become an electrical engineer. My mom also went to the university and she became a registered nurse. Because my parents chose to do this, I've grown up in Iowa City, Coralville my whole life and had no idea of my Midwestern background. Today, the things that I kind of do, my hobbies include listening to really loud music like rap and hip hop, driving really fast cars, and I like to skate a lot. I can longboard, skateboard, rollerblade, pennyboard, pretty much anything on wheels, I can probably ride it. And of course, this is the podcast Discovering Yourself, and since I'm today's special guest, the things I discovered on my journey today was mainly the reasons why my family decided to move out of their comfort area and move from Jessup to Iowa City. This was kind of interesting to learn because I didn't know my parents kind of wanted a more upbeat life. I thought they were kind of more relaxed. But here we are in Iowa City. Here I am in Iowa City, and I still have a lot of life left to live.